All right, folks, it was World Series time last night. Game one in Kansas City between the Giants and the Royals, and the Royals suffered their first postseason loss of the postseason of the year. And joining us now to talk about that and more is Jared Max, WCBS 880 sportscaster here in New York, and you could read his fine commentary at CBS Sports. NewYork.com. Oh, I'm sorry, CBSNewYork.com. CBSNewYork.com. Hey, Jared, how are you?
Steve, good afternoon. How are you, my friend?
Good, good. So, how surprised were you that? I guess with the man that the Giants put out on the mound, the only surprise really was that he gave up a run.
Yeah, what Madison Bumgarner had thrown, I believe it was 21 and a third consecutive innings without allowing a run, and then gave up a late seventh inning home run, which proved meaningless in Game 1 of the World Series. I was not surprised that the Giants came out and drew first blood. They're pushing their own record as far as consecutive World Series victories. My greatest question, Steve, is this, and I was wondering this before the game, because Kansas City has essentially been on this run that has been so unpredicted. What happens when this team loses a game? What does it do to the psyche of this team, which, remember, was not even a division winner in the American League Central? We have two wild card teams here in the World Series between the Giants and the Royals. Now, Kansas City sets a record by winning its first 8 playoff games. They come into this, they lose at home and really get trounced on their home field in Game 1. What does this do to the psyche of the team? I think we're going to see what Ned Yost, the manager of Kansas City, how he might be able to respond in Game 2. But another tough pitching matchup tonight, as Jake Peavy is going to be going for San Francisco.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We're going to see what the Royals are made of. You can't afford to go down 2-0 at home in a World Series. Of course, it's been done before, but after going 8-0, as you alluded to, and you know, the whole postseason, the Royals have had every ball go through every hole and bounce the right way, and you know, non-home run hitters hitting home runs and everything. And last night, from the get-go, they were down 3-0 after one. But you know, even the balls, you know, they weren't getting to them. They were getting through by guys in the infield. It looked like a different scenario, if not a different team, a whole different storyline.
The one thing that they can't do now, Steve, is to start pressing. Is to be aware that we didn't score any runs barely last night after having the success. What do we do? I've covered the Yankees in so many playoff series where in more recent years, as opposed to after their dynastic run in the late 90s into the early 2000s, where they would struggle at times of a short series in the postseason, and after losing, say, Game 1 or realizing they haven't scored in this many innings, they can't hit the ball with runners in scoring position, the teams generally start to press, and it's the one thing you can't do in Major League Baseball is try extra hard, because it's not going to make you hit a baseball
right.
Any easier. Kansas City, as you mentioned, everything has been magical for them in this postseason, and they're a bona fide baseball team, and maybe they need to knock the Giants around. They obviously need to win tonight. You don't want to go to San Francisco down 2-0, but hey, in '85 when they won their series, they lost their first 2 games at home against St. Louis.
That's very true. What do you think the interest is for this World Series? I mean,
I think it's among baseball fans. I think if you live in Missouri, if you live in Kansas, if you live in Northern California, obviously that's where the majority of interest is going to be. I think baseball purists around the country love this World Series. There's something fresh about seeing 2 teams who play small ball, who rely on fundamentals to get the job done. But the overnight TV ratings were down double digits from last year's of the World Series. It received an 8.0, and to shed some light, Game 1 of the last NBA Finals received a 10.4, and that was with an injured LeBron James. So I don't know. I'm not a big fan of looking at the numbers, how many people are watching this. If it's a great series and fewer people see it, I feel like one of the lucky ones that I was smart enough to watch.
All right, quickly, we have the news yesterday that the Cowboys cut Michael Sam from the practice squad. First openly gay NFL player, and you as one of, if not the first, openly gay sports announcers and talk show hosts in the country. So what was your reaction when that happened?
Disappointed. Reaction that I saw on Twitter also I found disappointing, on social media, on Facebook, from some openly gay players who are in college sports and among the LGBT community. This is disappointing in the sense that I would think that there are some kids out there who are athletes, who are in the closet, who weren't sparked today, who weren't inspired, I should say, yesterday when this news came out that, hey, I can do this. Probably a lot of hope the day Michael Sam was drafted for younger athletes. And again, Steve, I think I mentioned this to you the last time we spoke on this subject, is that I think Michael Sam has shouldered more than enough of the load for LGBT athletes. You can't tell me that there aren't gay players in the National Football League or in other.
And you want to hear from them.
Yeah, you know what? I think it's time to say, you know what? We've had a free lunch essentially for a period of time, and while it's a tough struggle to be closeted and work in sports, be part of sports, I think Michael Sam has done enough, and maybe there are some players out there who might have the courage, might find the courage. They're supposed to be tough guys to step up and say, you know what? It's time that we have this kind of watershed moment.
All right,
and hope where players would come out and
we shall see, Jared. Always great to talk to you, my friend. Jared Max, ladies and gentlemen. Read him at cbsnewyork.com. All right, we'll be back with the political reporter for the Daily Caller, Alex Pappas, after the break. But first, we are going to check in on the gubernatorial race in Michigan, and we're going to do that with our countdown to the midterms update. It's next.
When the Great Recession swept the country, Michigan was already reeling, particularly in Detroit. The city was bleeding jobs, and when it was all said and done, found itself billions of dollars in debt. Recovering looked bleak. Enter Republican Governor Rick Snyder, who's up for re-election. Snyder is drawing criticism from Democratic challenger Mark Schauer for handing the city of Detroit over to an emergency manager and opening it up to controversial cuts to pension plans for city workers. During their debate, Schauer accused Snyder of throwing Detroit and its people under the bus. That accusation didn't faze Snyder, telling voters to look at the numbers. His plan for Detroit is working. The candidates' differing views on how to handle government money problems is one reason both parties are giving this race so much attention. Whoever winds up in the governor's mansion will be key going into 2016. A red or blue influence from the top plays a big role in how Michigan and its 10 electoral votes will swing. It also gives potential presidential contenders insight into policies voters are favoring. In this case, extreme belt tightening.